Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Breeze, Breezeway Productions, The Breeze, where we continue our coverage of this year's Cinequest Film Festival. And we have director, writer, producer, actress Genevieve Adams here today with us to talk about her film, Simchas and Sorrows. How are you, Genevieve?
I'm well. How are you, Alex?
Very good, very good. Thanks for coming on the show to talk about your film. So we'll get it started and tell us a little bit about it.
Well, thanks for having me. Simchas and Sorrows is an independent romantic dramedy about an actress attempting to convert to Judaism to marry the man she loves. They take a class together at a synagogue with the courageous and fierce and funny Rabbi Cohen, and are sort of off on this whirlwind adventure that may or may not end up in marriage and conversion. And there's a lot of zany and colorful characters that they meet or we meet as the audience along the way. Their family members and people they work with. And yeah, it's a fun contemplative film about what it means to be Jewish right now and what it means to be young and in love, and what it means to be an artist living in a very fast-paced city like New York.
Sure, greatest city in the world, mind you. This film, you're doing a lot of things on it. You wrote, you produced, you directed, and you really moved mountains to get this done. So how did you formulate how you're going to create this from stage one?
That's a good question. I struggle to remember all the various steps. I mean, it took years. I got inspired to start writing the script when I was in a class with my now husband, Ben, at Central Synagogue, and I just started writing sort of comedy sketch versions and ideas of things based on my experiences in that class, which were initially very comedic and just struck me. There were a lot of characters in the class. I had never really, to me, there's always a lot of comedy in religion. I went to Catholic school growing up, so this was I was very familiar. I considered myself culturally Jewish growing up in New York and having a Jewish grandfather who is ethnically Jewish. But I never really explored the faith side of things. And as the class progressed, I got to really connect with our rabbi and the other people in the class. And I realized that there are a lot of sensitive, delicate, serious, profound issues that face the Jewish people, especially today with the troubling rise of anti-Semitism and in this country and around the world. And I started to realize there's more here than just a comedy sketch. There's a script. So I started writing, wrote a bunch of drafts, started sending it to people, I ended up raising the money over a couple of years with a pitch and a lookbook. And I called my friend Matt Ott, who's one of our producers who I worked with. He was a unit production manager on the first film that I wrote. I called Jackie Donahue, who I went to Dartmouth College with, who's wonderful, and she's really much more familiar with the business side of independent filmmaking than I am. And she was an incredible resource. And it was really Matt, me, and Jackie for like 3 years trying to figure out how to make this.
And when did Hannah come into? Another producer that you have listed is Hannah Swayze. When did she come into the project?
Hannah came in right before we got going. And she was critical in taking it to the next level because she introduced me to Daniel Contaldo, who is our DP, and he's just a lovely person and a extremely talented artist. And I was a first-time director, so I was nervous about a lot of, how we were going to shoot the film and the technical side of things. And he really was just a great partner, and I learned so much from him.
Yeah, this is your world premiere. So that this is going to be the first time that people are seeing this film at Cinequest, right?
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, well, that's pretty awesome news. And Apparently, you can see some really great talent that's in the film as well, like Thomas McDonald, Harry Neff, Luke Forbes, Chip Zien, Julie Halston, things like that. So you have quite a strong cast, lots of characters. Have you like which producer really went into getting the cast? Did you have a casting director that was attached to it, or how did you find your actors?
We did. I was really lucky in that I have done some acting and have a relationship with the wonderful and incredible A.B. Kaufman, who is a, amazing casting director, and her son Harrison and associate Scotty worked with me to cast this film. So they have great taste. They know me, they know my writing. And they have relationships with the best agents in the city and the best talent. And we worked, John Cullum is a 2-time Tony Award winner. Julie Halston is also a Tony Award winner. We worked with a lot of smart New York actors. And it was just,
It's great.
I'm really, really lucky that they said yes. And I think they responded to the writing and that alone, because there wasn't first-time director, low budget. There was a lot going, there was a lot of things stacked against us. But that's what I love about New York actors, is they're like really ready to get messy, and they're not afraid of a little chaos. So
there's one thing independent filmmakers have in common, is that the odds are always against them in every single way, shape, and form. But somehow through the madness, they're able to make it. And then you have your film at the end of the day after how many years did you say you're working on this?
God, it's hard to even quantify, because you think about when you started thinking about the idea, and then I would say about 4 years, 4.5 years.
Okay, well, people, blood, sweat, and tears go into these things, and then now you're lining it up for the world premiere and then showcasing it to everyone. So you'll have the payoff of being able to screen it. You've been through post, you've been through production, you did your pre-production, you had your team put together. Everyone's super hyped and excited for it to showcase it. So it's an exciting time, and that's why I love seeing people at this stage, because they've worked so hard on it for so long, and they're ready to showcase their project to the world and get it going. And being a world premiere of this, and it is your directorial debut as well. It is. Got a lot of debuts. You checking off the list of all of these things, which is fantastic.
It really is.
Yeah. So what do you hope audiences can take away from the film after they've seen it, when they experience Simchas and Sorrows at Cinequest?
Well, I always go to this David Foster Wallace quote when people ask me that question, which is, the good stuff can make readers feel less lonely. And he said that about writing. And I've always thought that was true about movies. And movies have always been like medicine to me since I was a kid. I just found comfort, and not just entertainment, but, they made me think, they made me feel. So if I can connect with people, if people can relate, I've succeeded. There's another idea of his that I talk about in that. Well, actually, the beginning of the film, Agnes is in her bed watching David Foster Wallace's speech at Kenyon, where he talks about how as adults, none of us are really atheists, and we all sort of pick what we worship in life. And he advocates that the only real thing that provides any kind of happiness or freedom for any of us is doing little sort of unsexy things for the people we love. And to me, that was where I was so moved by the idea of simchas, that there's a word for little joys or little pleasures in Hebrew. And so I thought, I saw the connection there. And I think at the beginning of the film, Agnes is very convinced she's an atheist, and convinced she's right about a lot of things. Even though she's listening to that speech, it doesn't really sink in. And I think throughout the film, you see her sort of understand and come to terms with that idea. So I hope that people are entertained by it. I hope it makes them think. I hope they get to appreciate the performances of people like Hari and Thomas and John Cullum and all the actors you mentioned. And I hope they enjoy it.
You're ready to rock and roll. You got the premiere coming up, your world premiere, your directorial debut. It's and many, many years of work with an amazing team of people, like you've been saying. So we salute you and congratulate you on that. In closing, is there anything you'd like to say to the Cinequest Film Festival for the official selection this year?
Thank you so much. We're so grateful. We're thrilled. Everyone we've been in touch with and in contact with to make this happen has been just delightful and so supportive. And as you know, Alex, that's, we need that. So I'm eternally grateful, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Right on. As hope our audience is able to check it out as well. Do you know when virtually it will be screening on Cinejoy from April 1st to the 17th, and Cinequest in person August 16th to the 29th? Those dates sound correct?
We actually are part of the Spotlight series now. When we first got accepted, I thought that was the case, but we're now a Spotlight event. So that means we'll screen for one night, April 7th.
Thursday, April 7th at 5:30.
April 7th, yes.
It's great to have the notes while you're checking things out as it works. So Thursday, April 7th at 5:30 will be the Spotlight. The 5:30 is the red carpet. You'll be able to walk. 6 p.m. opening remarks. 6:05 Simchas and Sorrows screening starts, and 8:02 the Q&A with the cast and creators. So you have quite a stocked night coming up very, very soon.
Yes, it's exciting.
It is. And I want to thank you for coming on the show to talk about your film, Simchas and Sorrows, which will be playing at all of the dates that I mentioned. And be sure to check it out. Genevieve Adams, thank you so much for joining me today on The Breeze.
Thank you, Alex.